past 2 weeks, or 1 week, I guess.
Holy shit, Kevin!
Wow! What?
You get this only nowhere else but you, Kevin and Zach. Kevin, I'm not gonna lie.
Now look at this. A carved penguin. There it is.
Oh no. Are the O's fine? Are the Orioles fine, Kevin?
I'm so embarrassed.
Okay.
The Orioles stole it. That game was stolen. It was stolen from them, then they stole it right back.
What?
Oh my god.
Wait, what's going on? What is happening?
What is going? Was it a diving play? He bobbled the ball.
What is happening? Are they challenging it? No. Other wall. No.
Kevin, I don't know what you saw, how much you saw. I've been chugging champagne. Sure, I spilled a lot, but what a game, man.
He will be the legendary
Birdfish!
How about that?
Birdfish fans, stand up. We did it.
What can I say? What can I say? Well, here we are again. The Baltimore Orioles win the first game of the series against the Texas Rangers, and they dropped the last two. I'm so disappointed. This is Kevin and Zach React, or Reacts. We're kind of open to whichever one you want to call it. We're your Orioles post-game destination. Win or lose, and boy, don't we all know there's been a lot of losing over the course of this season. So appreciate everybody for being here. I am Kevin Oestreicher. Zach Bollinger is currently, I think he's on the move, so maybe he'll join, maybe he won't. This will be definitely a shorter show. I have a lot of work I got to get done by midnight, and what else is there to talk about with this game? It's the same old stuff. But I could honestly play the show from yesterday, or a week ago, and it'd be the same exact thing. So definitely not a long show tonight. Probably going to jump out of here. I don't know. We'll play it by ear. But let's bring him on. Let's bring him on the screen, or I guess behind the screen. Zach, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Well, I don't know if you heard the intro. We're back again. The Orioles they win game one, and then they drop the last two. Just disappointing. I mean, not that I didn't expect it, but still. It's like, man, you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can sit here. It's one of those games we've talked about, feels like 10, 15 times this season already. I want to be mad at Zagano because I'm like, hey, you can't give up 6 runs, but if he even gave up a single run this game, the offense showed absolutely no life besides literally the first pitch of the game to Jackson and the 9th inning double by Gunnar. Few things scattered in between with, Hearn's double and stuff, but can't be mad at, because if he even gives up 1 run, they lose still. And then you look at the offense and you're like, they didn't have their night, but Valdi shut them down, and doesn't matter if they scored 5 because Zagano gave up 6 runs. It's like just a bad loss by all sides. Like every side of the ball right now. We talk about the sliders, and one had it. The bullpen was the only thing that play had any sort of success tonight. Everything else was rough to watch.
Yeah, Corbin makes his return to the Orioles. I knew he was coming back. I knew never a doubt Corbin was coming back. All right, Corbin goes an inning and a third. Just No, it's not Corbin Burns, but still.
Yeah. It's a
Cor-
Corbin.
Yeah, Corbin. If you name Corbin on the Orioles, he might pitch pretty well. So that was fun. Cano gets called up and he gets in for an inning. Does give up the walk, but he was
They
fine.
already.
And then,
I was gonna say real fast, Kevin. Just while you're talking about guys rejoining the team, you see they just announced Tyler O'Neill's joining the team in Atlanta.
all right, that's gonna do it for Kevin Azek. God, can't this night get any better?
It's just it's impressive how it feels like, Kevin, this team just can't. Like, sometimes I'll tell you this, they would have won if Dean Kramer was on the mound. When does Dean pitch again? Because he might be the next win. We might need to stop him.
Who's getting sent down for O'Neill?
I would assume Carlson. He has the options.
Yeah, he's still in the window, isn't he?
Yeah, I would assume it's Carlson. I
don't know how big of an upgrade that is. I don't even know if it is an upgrade.
You know what? The only hope I'm having is we said the same shit about Maverick Handley and Sanchez. Well, obviously the fielding's been atrocious. At least Sanchez has been doing, his bat's been better. So maybe O'Neill comes up and will give us 7 games of fun before we head back to reality.
Yeah. I mean, look, this team is back. It's back to 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, back to 12. I mean,
it keeps
again,
slipping away.
Hey, I'll stay true to it. All right, I'll stay true to it. I said 4-2 at the end of the road trip. So they better get their brooms out in Atlanta. They want to get there. Because again, you waste. Look, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that that's what it has to be, because how many more series can they? And again, I've said it for months. They're not making. I don't think they're making the playoffs, right? I'm just talking about it from where they are and with the slim chance that they do have. How many more series can you afford to lose? Not many.
Not any.
In 6 games between the Rangers and the Braves, can you afford to go 500 if you win the Braves series and you have 6 less games to work with? That's the thing. So you better play the best ball of the year against Atlanta, or else you're again in a world of trouble. But they already are in a world of trouble because they just can't play consistent baseball. So, I think it might be time, Zach, to shift into. I mean, look, what else is there to talk about with the game? Tomo wasn't great. He's allowed 18 homers in 17 games, or 17 homers in 18 games. I can't remember the exact stat. You want another stat? Andy Koska saying the Orioles have suffered 9 shutout losses this season, which is 1 more than they managed in all of 2024. So they half the season still to play. Now, granted, the 2024 first half of the Orioles was number 1. Second half, not so much. This would be good.
Kevin, I'm tired of putting up goose eggs. It's so frustrating with this offense, because we talk all the time about, the pitching's been disappointing, but the offense has been. If we're talking biggest disappointments, we knew the pitching staff, especially with injuries, was patchwork. We knew this was throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks at times. We came into the season knowing it. The offense, for them to already have 9 shutouts under their belt, that's embarrassing. We can't. That's in 85 games, however long we're you simply can't do that. That's just, you're almost literally less than 1 in 10 games. 1 in 9 games, probably it is. They're getting shut out right now. That's just, it's bad, Kevin. Good teams don't do that. Good teams don't do that.
Yeah, it's tough. Oh, I see. Can you hear me, Zach? Is something wrong with my mic?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I coming through okay?
For a minute you went. I don't know what happened for 2 seconds, but it was just for a 4-second thing. Then you came back fine.
Oh, okay.
I honestly thought it was my headphones just going in and out.
All right. Well, sorry about that. I am getting a new setup. I've said it a billion times, but the new mic will be better than this old one. I mean, this mic is 6 years old, so its time is probably coming to a close here. So. But yeah, I mean, you want to have a fun little history lesson here, Zach? We'll go back in time. Where are the comments? All right, we got Kyle Stowers, homer again for Miami. Although,
hell yeah.
The Trevor Rogers deal is looking better by the day for the Orioles, so at least there's
Yeah,
that. But Steve, breaking some news. You ready, Zach? Austin
Let's hear it.
Slater homered off of Kershaw.
I'm getting off.
The Orioles' big trade deadline acquisition for last year and this year. I'm pumped. I'm excited.
If he somehow ends up back here, I'm quitting the show. It's gonna be Kevin Reacts.
Oh,
Of course he did. Also, Joey Ortiz, grand slam today.
He's been turning it on recently. He was not good for them early, but he has been a lot better. So yeah, I love that.
I know a lot of people are like still weirdly super pressed about the Stowers trade. I think it worked out for both teams. I think Trevor Rogers, if he can continue to pitch a semi what he's doing, I don't expect him to be throwing 13 straight shutout innings on the regular. But if he sits there and he's hanging around the 3.5 ERA, like Norby's been decent this year. Like he's been an average league hitter. And Kyle Stowers has had ups and downs. I think it worked out for everyone involved. So like I know we can say, people say worst trade in history. I literally just got the notification earlier today that it's the 15-year anniversary or 10-year anniversary. Yeah, 10-year, I guess, anniversary of the Orioles trading Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop. I tried to combine Arrieta and Pedro for Scott Feldman. So that's still out there in case you want to feel great about anything.
I'm not sure I want to remember that, but
yeah,
now I have my Orioles legend for the night.
But exactly, Kevin. But it is one, and I saw someone on Twitter was like, when I posted that Joey Ortiz went yard for a grand slam, I was like, reminder that Elias traded him and DL Hall for a rental. I'm going to stand up. I would do that trade in a heartbeat for 1 year, knowing the outcome 10 times out of 10. Like, they got a year of Corbin Burns, who was an absolute ace. It didn't work out in the end. They didn't re-sign him, but it's not like these guys are world beaters. Like you said, Joey Ortiz is barely batting over 200, I believe, still. DL Hall's been a reliever struggling to stay on the field. I don't see that. Like, we got a year of Corbin Burns. I don't think that's a horrendous trade. Would I have loved Corbin Burns long term? Yeah, but I mean, I feel like those two trades. I'm more just happy for Joey, for Kyle Stowers and for Connor Norby and DL, like, because they weren't getting any opportunities here. Like, they were just getting Kevin, how many times did we talk about it? It's like Kyle Stowers, literally, he even told us in an interview, he's like, it felt like he was a part of like 6 different prospect groups. Like, every year it was like all these prospects, and Kyle Stowers. It's like these guys weren't getting chances here. So for their sake, I'm happy they're getting opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, there was no room, and now it seems like the Orioles are devoid of some talent when it comes to some of the, especially with how many injuries they've suffered, right? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the fully healthy roster has, at least you hope, enough talent. But yeah, I mean, how nice would it be to have some of these guys go on the IL or be out, and then have a guy like an Ortiz come up? And again, like, those guys would have gotten really frustrated, and they would have been the main things in packages. But now you got to talk about other packages and not for prospects, right? Seems like the Orioles will be sellers here. Talk about this for a few minutes. I mean, you ruin Ryan O'Hearn All-Star Day. Shout out to Bro Hearn.
Yeah,
very well deserved, but feels like it's going to be short-lived in Baltimore between either him or Cedric Mullins. Maybe it's both at this point. I don't know. Like, we talked about it a little bit on Sunday, Zach, but they're not entering a rebuild. They're going to frame it as a retool, and they still have guys that could potentially be traded that can contribute to winning. But you have to switch something up. It's like Hyde, right? It's not working. And yes, injuries play a part in that, but every team deals with it. Orioles dealt with a lot, though, right? It's not like, Orioles have been near the top, if not at the top, in terms of guys who have been out or missed time, and that's a factor. But
yeah,
it's been disappointing. And do I dare say they trade Trevor Rogers?
oh my God.
That's it. But my hot take is he's their most valuable pitcher right now.
Trade him back to the Marlins.
Wow, it'd be a really good deal. Trevor Rogers, this guy named Kyle Stowers, he's been playing pretty well this year. Connor Norby's been about average. Those two guys could really help boost your. Those guys could really boost your lineup. Trade Trevor Rogers for like Stowers and Norby, right? That's a package, right? Do you
Run it back. Just run it back.
You think both teams would accept it?
You know what's so funny is they could do that, and the same people pissed about that trade would be pissed again. They'd be like, "We're giving up pitching assets for 2 career minor leaguers." Like, people would be upset about the trade.
Oh man.
But yeah, Kevin, they're gonna have to make some trades. I think honestly their most valuable asset people aren't talking about enough is Sir Anthony Dominguez. He keeps pitching the way he is.
I think he can be I think he could be a winning player for you. I'd trade Soto over Dominguez. I know everybody would, but I'm just talking about like I mean,
you can't trade everyone on a.
I know.
Deal, yeah, I agree. I would love to keep Dominguez, but man, for the right price, I would sell.
What's the right price to you? Is it high A guys? Is it a major league starter? Like
I need pitching help that's gonna be here in the next year. Like, I don't need a top 100. I don't need top 100 prospects in that. If you can fetch me some, high or double A to triple A young pitchers sitting in the team's top 15 prospects, 10 to 15, I'd be very happy with that.
My worry is that
I'm at the point where it's
okay. Zach just left, so okay, all right. I'll be kind and let him come back on and finish his point. It's not even letting me bring him on. Okay, well, my point, I'll do my point, is that the thing I worry about, and this is a lot less of a concern at the trade deadline, because like if you really want a guy and the price goes up at the deadline, just because of the fact that teams are competing for your guys, like there is a set deadline, and if multiple teams are interested, you can bidding wars and yada yada yada. My concern is that teams will understand the Orioles are operating from a disadvantage and will try to leverage them. Now, again, that's less of a concern at the deadline than it would be in the offseason because there is that set deadline. But I don't want them to settle just to settle or trade just to trade. Now, to a certain extent, if you're not going to re-sign a guy and you're going to lose them and the money's not going to be a comp balance pick or anything that's worth it, then yeah, you trade to trade if you know that guy's gone. But like, I'd be disappointed if they moved off of some of these guys who can still help winning and don't get a lot back for them. So, all right, Zach. Zach, you back? You back?
Yeah, I'm back. You hear me?
Okay. Yep, I got you.
Yeah, I agree. But like you said, with it being the deadline, I think you do kind of help your leverage case there. But it is going to come down to what you think. You do have to balance 2026 and all this. So if you think that Sir Anthony Dominguez can be your setup guy of the future, can be your 7th, 8th inning guy, and you want to give him 2-3 more years, then you do that. If you do not think that he is worth that, and you can get a top 15 prospect pitcher from another team organization, and you think they have some upside, I would go do that. It doesn't. The top guys don't. And I know people feel weird about Cade Povich and everything. Cade Povich is such a win. Him and Yennier Cano getting them for Jorge Lopez, like that was not a trade that looked like people were excited. There was no top prospects moved in that trade. Just a solid trade where they got pitching depth and they got guys that were going to be ready in the next year or two to help them. If you get 2 or 3 pitchers that are in that, throwing that, quote unquote Cade Povich role or tier of, hey, if they put it together, they could be a really solid 3. Yeah, you take that chance. You take that chance on some, guys that aren't going to be leaving this year anyway.
Yeah, and Mel Best here saying only teams since 2019 to not sign an extension. Man, if that's true, and I'm not saying that Mel Best is wrong. I'm just saying that, like, wow, that is insane.
Yeah.
That's insanity. Like, yeah, that's kind of like what we talked about. We don't really know who's going to be on the team, and not only this year at the deadline, but like you move on to like Hauser, Westberg, Adley, Jackson, Gunner, Grayson. You don't know who's going to be on the team. Like,
Yeah.
they don't have anybody who is locked in long term. So, we can talk about other windows. This, this young core. Well, none of your core is signed. So, who is going to be here and who's not going to be? So,
Yeah, young
that
core is
is
only fun until if you have them for a long time.
Well, windows open and shut. Blink, it's a snap of the finger, blink of an eye. Like,
Yeah.
the Cubs and the Blue Jays and, all these teams that we thought were going to be, this is the next 10-year dynasty, like 50. Oh, this is so much young talent, so many young guys. And I mean, you don't know. Like, you don't know. And Boris is, he doesn't like guys signing early. I get it. But it's like no one is signed early. No one has signed anything. So,
yeah, I mean, you got to find someone. Even at this point, get Adley, get Hauser, somebody. They got to get somebody. Even if it's not Gunner or Holiday.
Something for the fan base to be excited about him. We're just sitting here with nothing. So.
Bro, if they gave Sam Basayo 10 years, $100 million right now, a little Ronald Acuna deal, I'd be through the roof. Like,
I think it's smart business. I think it's smart business. I mean, it's risky business, but I think it's smart business.
I agree.
So,
1,000% agree.
Yeah. All right. Let's pull up this real quick from Tommy. Appreciate you, Tommy. Fine with any trades. Elias doing those? No thanks. Good. It's a good point. I mean, it's clear the Orioles need to make a change, but depending on your trust level on Elias, and I know for a lot of people it's not very high. Do you trust him to be the steward of this deadline? Especially if he does get moved on from in the offseason, and that's a different conversation, whether he will or won't be. But, do you want him to steward the deadline, move off of guys for prospects that if a new guy does come in, is he going to be like, I don't like these guys. Like, they're not my guys. So, what does that look like? Do you expect Elias to get the value out of those guys, right? Do you trust him to get the value out of those guys? So,
yeah, I mean, two things. One, yeah, I trust Elias because Elias, we've seen him. One of his best moves have been when he's selling. I don't know if I trust Elias buying right now, but he's found ways to get prospects and get the best thing. But I think it's like, I don't get the whole, do we trust Elias at the trade deadline? Like, should they just not have him be in charge of it? So are we just are we doing nothing? Like, I don't get the whole, don't let Elias be in charge of, like, so are we staying, like, what do we mean we're not allowing the GM to be like, so we're throwing away, like, that's just, it's dumb. Like, I don't get it. Like, what do we mean? Like, I see this all the time where it's like, I don't trust Elias to do, like, he better not be the one doing stuff like, so are we letting everyone walk? Like, could you imagine this fan base if we don't do a single move and everyone just walks? Like, I don't get where it's like, why are we not, like, I wouldn't let Elias handle this trade deadline. He's the GM. Like, he's standing pat's the worst thing we can do. Can we talk about if you want to be aggressive and buy long-term, that's an option. Best bang for your buck long-term. If you want to sell off guys, that's an option. A little buy some, sell some, that's an option. Staying pat, I think, is just like, I just don't see any benefit. Like, let's go for it with the exact same team that we are 12 under right now and just let guys walk. I just don't see the benefit in staying completely pat.
I don't think they should stay pat. I just think it's kind of a thing where, like, it's going to happen and we have to be okay with it. I mean, I don't think they should stay on pat, and Elias is going to be the guy, and that's just the reality. I mean, it is. And, I mean, you're right. I'm not going to move away from my stance of, like, they can't let these guys walk. They can't do it. If you're going to sign a guy, sign him. If you're going to trade, if he's not coming back, then get something for him. I'm tired of these first round picks. They're going to draft 80,000 outfielders and 80,000 infielders and one pitcher. Like it happens every year. So they need to get value. All right. We can talk about this where their farm system, they have a lot of talented players in there, but from where they were 5 years ago, and a lot of those guys have graduated, albeit, but it's depleted from what it was. And they need to get some talent back in there. And it doesn't have to be like superstar stud prospects, but just like guys who can be solid for you. And, whether you trust Elias or not to make those moves, I know it's, varying opinions on it, but he is going to be the guy. I mean, they're not going to fire. I mean, I'd be floored if they did fire him before the trade deadline. So it's going to be him. And, it's just kind of the reality everybody's in right now.
Yeah, if you want to say that Mike Elias, if you'll move away from him after this year, that's one thing. Telling him to not be, do anything because you don't want to mess up someone in the future who won't have the opportunity to trade these guys.
Not how it works, yeah.
Yeah, and then, he's got to figure it out. Well, if he is selling to try to save his ass and save his job, it's not the worst place to be either. It's like, if he's got to get the best bang for his buck to try to keep his job and show that, he is replenished the farm system. Because besides Samuel Basayo, they just had Esteban Mejia enter the top 100 for baseball, the 18-year-old out of the Florida Golf League. And besides him, he's not going to come up for another 4 or 5 years, 2, 3, 4 years. So it's like, he's not the help coming anytime soon. They need to build some sort of farm system again of, guys that can come up and help this team, because it feels like they're just recycling Kerstead, and then, it's the same guys over and over. Bring Kerstead up, send Mayo down. Bring Mayo up, send Kerstead down. Now they're finally giving Mayo a good look after they gave Kerstead a good look. But, there's still Dylan Beaver. I just feel like we need to get pitching, because after McDermott and, Brent, they don't have any, pitching at the top of the farm system that makes you go, oh, once he enters the rotation, we can have a really solid thing going. They just don't have anyone at the moment that I think carries that weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is also why they need to take a pitcher with all 3 first-round picks. But like you said, we'll get 2 center fielders and a shortstop.
Yep. We'll see.
All of that left-handed.
It's the Oriole way. All right, let's get to some call-ins here again. I have to get work done by midnight, so we're going to do literally 3-minute call-ins. We're going to get the time. Apparently, people couldn't hear the timer last night. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess that was on. I guess that was on me. That's my bad. So I'm going to make the timer loud tonight. But, if you want to pop in, talk for a couple minutes. I'm going to put the link if you're a member. Where are we here? Here we go. Okay. All right. So there we go. Link is in. Want to come in for a couple minutes. I actually need to reset the timer here. Let's go 3 minutes. We will turn the volume all the way up. All right. Tell me, can you hear this?
Yeah, we can hear that. There we go.
Okay. All right. I don't know why maybe the volume wasn't all the way up. I'm gonna position it so that it's pointing towards my mic, so we can do it that way. So, all right, where are we here? Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's bring on caller number 1. So far, the only caller. It is Jake. Jake, what's going on, man?
I'm good. How y'all doing, man?
Just disappointed, I guess, is the word I'll use. I mean,
yeah, it definitely feels like this is the kind of that night where it was just so dejected, where it was just all right, they didn't have anything. Sugano was getting picked apart by the 3rd, 4th inning. I mean, he gave it the 3-run shot. I just cannot stand to having our guys love getting 2 outs quick and then just getting crushed somehow with 2 out. I have no idea why this keeps happening.
It's unbelievable.
It is the most frustrating thing in the world, because you feel like they're always feel like they're an out of way For even the, 2 outs to get that home run, make it 3-0,
Yep.
and then they
Yep.
get guys on second and third. Sagana strikes the next 2 out. You're like, okay, get it out here. It's still 3-0, and then you give up the single. If you get 2 outs there, it's literally still 0-0. But you gave up the extra hit, the one extra hit.
100%, Zach. And I think I agree with you completely. Like it's kind of frustrating. Like I like going on. I'm still within like going on X within 2 years, so I'm still learning it. I didn't like Twitter stuff before because it was just like ridiculous, and it still is. I try to keep it only to Orioles crap, and then even then, it's like Jesus, what are you
No,
you all are
it's something.
you all are missing chromosomes. I don't know because like they have these opinions like what you're talking about, Zach, where like I don't want Elias touching this trade deadline. It's like brother. That's literally where he makes his money.
Something. We got to do something. We can't stand pat.
Yeah, it literally makes this is where he makes his money. Like I agree with you. I think Kevin, you said it earlier. Like it was like this is or Zach, where it was like he may not be the best at like it seems at least of trading to get major league ready guys, but when it comes to like hey, let's get rid of a guys a year early or a few months early than too late, kind of like the old Bill Belichick thing. And everybody's when we got rid of Trey Mancini and then was it Lopez, and Lopez was the one people were freaking out about because he was an all-star that year, and we get
Yeah.
I think we got Povich out of that, which Povich, what he is, I think he's going to be something, not an all-world starter number one, but he's going to be something in this organization, and we got that. So I don't. Yeah, it's just frustrating. I think what I heard today was pretty much like, hey, if you're gonna go for pitching prospects and you're gonna trade some of these bigger names, try to go like it's like, hey, get that double A guy who is is on the cusp of triple A and is near the top, like hopefully near the top of their top 10 list, or actually more importantly, than what they think is their top 10, what we think is their top 10.
Right.
Like that's kind of that sweet spot because if you go single A, that kid that Zach referenced, that kid is the one that threw like 103 miles an hour or some crap.
Yeah.
Is that Zach? But yeah, I mean, yeah, I know you're all trying to get all quicks, but it's just they just need to, if they're gonna make this an extended spring training, getting guys and starting in like August area, then it's like okay, let's find out what we got, and as long as guys are going in those upper trajectories like Mayo and Jackson's continuing to go, then I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, but at least we're starting to see something we can feel better about going into 2026 is how I look at it.
We need some hope. That's what we need. I mean, it's
Any
clear
hope.
this season is not going the way that anybody wanted it to, and playoffs are such a far dream at this point. I mean, I said it earlier. I've been on that they're not going to make it. So just get any hope that you can for 2026 and go from there. But Jake, any final thoughts before you head out?
No, one last thing. I don't know if you guys know, and then you can take for next episode or whatever. But I was like curious, Kevin. You brought up like how like injuries, everybody's got it, and we're definitely. I think we have the most on the list. But I'm curious as to what we have compared to like war, like lost war.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't like war or whatever, but at least it's a metric of being like, okay, we didn't just lose out on a AAA player who kind of comes up every once in a while has a .01 war. We lost real talent for extended periods of time, and how did it hurt us? I'm curious. So
Interesting. I will try to do some research on that because that's a good question. I'm actually curious now too. That piques my interest. So I'll try to get that and see. But awesome.
thanks,
Jake,
bro.
appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate you calling in,
Jake.
and we'll
All
talk
right,
soon.
gents.
All right.
Be easy.
All right. Boom, boom, boom. And we got Laura here. Shout out to Laura. Appreciate you, Laura. Always supportive. Always supportive. We appreciate all support from everybody here. Even new member / old member Ryan Ripken. Yeah, just brutal all at once. Did he say something else in here? No, just brutal all at once. That's how it goes. That is how it goes. So, yeah, looks like Jake was the only caller. So
Love it. I didn't think a lot of people wanted to talk about this.
No, that's what it's been recently, right? Like the season is just a wash at this point, and I get it. I mean, look, we love talking to the community, but I understand. We understand. So, look, appreciate all the support. That's all we got. I got a lot of work to do in 40 minutes and a lot of work to do after 40 minutes. So I'm gonna get up very early tomorrow, 5:30. So maybe I just won't sleep, Zach. Who knows?
I was gonna say, are you even sleeping?
I hope so, because I don't know about you, but it doesn't really matter how much sleep I get at times. Where I'll feel tired whether I sleep for 2 hours or 10 hours.
Well, because your sleep is like your 3 hours is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So it's like not really. You just.
Yeah. And Rick, I know no one wants to talk to me. I'm heartbroken over here. I can't. Yeah, Laura can wake up with me. I'll be up at 5:30, which it's not like new for me, but my episode will be out at 6 tomorrow. And we are doing 4th of July. Happy 4th of July early, everybody. We will be
Oh yeah,
doing that as well. So,
yeah, I was gonna say. I guess our next show, those are off tomorrow.
not the worst thing in the world with the way this season is going. So.
That's for sure.
Yep. Locked On Ravens is the show. Actually, we're coming up on my. Hold on. 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024. Coming up on my 6-year anniversary of hosting Locked On Ravens.
Wow.
That is
You're old.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm getting told there are people going to get high chairs for me. I'm getting called old.
I've never.
Man, when am I going to stop getting beat up on over here?
That was a tough scene. I've not seen someone body someone like that in a long time. That was from left field too, like just a right hook out of nowhere.
Man, and yeah, I know that the MLB channels for Locked On are doing postcasts. I do that for Ravens, and we're actually adding something onto that. Actually, I'm adding multiple things onto that. So, yeah, we will see there, and we also do Ravens reactions live as well. But all right, we actually have one more call in, and then I'm actually all right. We're taking the link out because we take the link out now after a certain amount of time, and we need to bop one out of here. So this is the last call in for real. We got B Ravens. Let me start the timer up. B Ravens, what's going on?
What the heck? I don't understand this team. Like, they look good 1 minute, then they completely fall on their face the next.
Yep.
Where is that? Their pitcher and catcher?
I mean, they need a catcher that isn't horrendous behind the play. I mean, I've never missed Maverick Hanley so much.
I know. Name a game this year where we throw runner, where we attempt to steal and the ball doesn't land in the outfield.
I honestly have forgotten what it feels like to consistently not have that happen. And that is a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. So,
yeah, exactly.
The season to me is just a wash at this point, B Ravens. I don't really have a lot of hope left at all. So, you got to bring your brooms out to Atlanta, hopefully. But if you lose one of those games, you're 3-3 on the road trip, and nothing really changes. So,
yeah, it's hoping for either 4-2 or 3-3, and right now it looks like 3-3 is probably best case scenario.
4-2 was that's what Zach and I talked about. We had both kind of said 4-2, right? You got to start making these games up, especially as the trade deadline gets closer. 3-3, and something both Zach and I have talked about is like you're 6 games down and you have gone nowhere, and you have 6 less games to work with. So I don't know. I mean, I guess they're missing a couple of the Braves pitchers this time around, but I know profile. And I think the worst part about this is they're missing Verdugo since he got DFA'd.
Yeah,
that's the worst part. I would have loved to see some Verdugo.
Yeah, if only he can misplay another ball in left field.
Right, exactly. We will not have the pleasure of seeing that again, unfortunately. So
yeah, the guy that scares me the most is Strider. We know how good he is, and he seems to be picking up steam in recent weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they're missing Sale, and who's the other one? Who else are they missing?
Guy was supposed to play tomorrow. I can't remember his name.
Is that who? Zach, do you know who they're missing tomorrow? Do you remember? Are you even here? He might not even. Are you here?
No, who are the Braves?
The Braves.
Yeah,
the Braves put someone else on the IL, but I can't remember the name of the guy.
Chris Sale went.
It was Chris Sale, but then there's someone else.
Schwellenbach?
Yes, that's who it is.
yeah, the guy that they were supposed to face tomorrow. But
Yeah, I was gonna say because they avoided him now, which is really nice because he's.
Oh, he's at. All right, I'm seeing here. Carlos saying he's out for the season. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he did have something, but yeah, that sucks for them because he's a really fun young pitcher.
Yeah. So.
yeah, they're down 2 of their best pitchers, but they still got Strider, which and how good he is.
Yeah. So. We will see. We will see. But B Ravens, anything else you got for us on the way out?
Nope, other than what the heck happened to our everything. Pitching has fallen off a cliff. Batting
Sagano,
is up and down. Like, why can we have a game like a couple days ago where it felt like our bats actually did something?
I know it's so inconsistent. It's off. It's the same conversation we had a year ago today still, and while they've looked better, they don't look good enough. So,
and honestly, this is what I'm thinking about going into next year. Do we carry 3 catchers on our 40? Just like pitchers,
real possibility.
It's just like quarterbacks in the NFL. Most teams carry 2, but some teams, if they know that their QB is injury prone or their QB is mobile enough to where they're probably going to end up with an injury, they'll carry 3. And for me, catchers is something similar to that, where you've seen teams like the Royals will carry 3 catchers. Salvador Perez's injury history. Or I know the Phillies have carried 3 catchers. There's Muto's injuries.
Right.
So
yeah.
the Orioles do something similar?
I think at this point you kind of have to. I mean, it's very rare that like this amount of injuries happen to one position like it has here. Like this is very like rare. It's unorthodox. It happens like this, but I think you don't want to be in a situation where it happens again. I mean, like the MLB should institute the 3rd emergency catcher rule like the NFL did with the quarterbacks. So it's, it doesn't take up a roster spot. You can call them up on game days. So I would love to see them do it, but yeah, the catcher position is just one weird, wacky position for them right now. So crazy. But all right, B Ravens, appreciate you calling in, man. Hopefully they can win on Friday and sweep the Braves, and we'll be talking after a series win, but I don't even know at this point. But appreciate you calling in.
All right, see ya.
All right. Boom. Boom.
What a time to be alive, man.
Crazy. Well, the Orioles lose. Again, they can't capitalize on winning an opening game. Again. They are inconsistent again. I'd be very curious to see if we could play a show from like August of last year. If it
probably
like
could. It would. It would literally. We would just be saying the exact same thing we've been saying this entire time. Just different players.
Unbelievable. Well, all right. I think that's all we got. Zach, you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, Orioles lose 6-0 to the Rangers.
6-0.
Can't muster anything, and they will get back on the grind on Friday. So that's when we'll be back. We'll be back on Friday. We'll have a little off day on Thursday, and then hopefully talk after a win. That's 4th of July. So we'll see everybody on the 4th. Hope everybody has a good rest of your night. Enjoy the off day tomorrow. We'll be back here soon with more Kevin and Zach React. Steve Clevenger.
Ryan
My
McKenna.
Legend. Although don't ask him to catch a pop-up.
Yeah, so sorry.